Hi guys, welcome to the special episode at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum TIFF and our technology partner Prime Infotech Solution. I am Jolly Singh, co-host at Coffee and associate with Prime Infotech Solution. Today's theme is From Bean to Brew, exploring the world of coffee blends. We shall take a deep dive into the world of coffee, its culture, trends, and the art of crafting the perfect cup. Today, we are brewing up something special with Drishti as we explore the fascinating realm of coffee blends and their impact on flavor, brewing techniques, and the growing culture surrounding this beloved beverage. The Bindra is a dynamic force in the world of legal management, recruitment, and technology where currently she is in sales and talent partner at Pollinize Network based at Perth, Australia, and a coffee connoisseur. Whether you are a casual coffee drinker or a connoisseur, there is always something new to learn about the complexity and richness of coffee. So let's get started. A very warm welcome to you, Drishti ma'am.
Thank you so much, Jolly, and thank you so much to the entire team of the Coffee Conversation show powered by the Emerging India Forum. Thank you for having me once again over here. Yeah,
It's an absolute pleasure. And since it's a special episode and we are going to talk a lot about the coffee, so
yeah,
the name of our show is actually Coffee Conversation. So let's get
yeah.
started with this special episode, special edition. And my very first question to you would be that can you explain the main differences between the single origin coffee and coffee blends and how are these differences impact the flavor?
Sure. So, when you talk about single origin coffee and coffee blends, so single origin is basically which is originated at one location. For example, you have Ethiopian coffee or Colombian coffee. So, that's one origin coffee which is originated at one farm. But however, when we say coffee blends, that's a mixture of different coffee beans which come together in order to prepare that kind of coffee which suits your taste. And when we say how these differences impact the flavor, definitely when it's single origin, like you have that kind of region flavor associated with it. However, when it's a blend, you get a flavor of mixture of coffees which are coming along, coffee blends which are coming along. In fact, yeah.
How do regional variations in coffee beans, as you mentioned, Ethiopian and Colombian, so influence the types of blends that can be created?
Definitely. So I would say how small pieces makes a full house. In the similar manner, different beans comes together and make a special coffee or special blend of coffee which people love. So when and these all coffee when they're blended together bring their regional richness with them. Some might be fruity, some might be bit sweet, bit like bitter in that taste. So when all are mixed and balanced in that sense, it makes the best coffee which generally people have every day. If you talk about in India, you have Nescafe, you have brew coffee, but they're not single origin coffee. They are coffee blends which you get, which are formed by different beans coming together. And however, like if you have, I would say Nescafe Gold, when you get into more premium kind of coffee, those are single blend coffee. In that also you have medium roast, you have dark roast, you have like light roast in order to enhance the flavor accordingly.
So again, the next question is related to the roasting only. That
Okay.
what role does roasting play in developing the flavor profile of a coffee blend, and how do roasters decide on the right roast level for a particular blend?
Definitely. So I would say roasting is a technique in order to heat the like your coffee beans. It's kind of like a heating process which the coffee beans undergo in order to change their physical and chemical nature of it. It brings a lot of physical and chemical variation to your coffee. And when you roast the coffee, you have different ways you roast it. Either you light roast it, you medium roast it, or you dark roast it accordingly. And there are different flavors which are available in the market, and people can choose the flavor according to their taste. And when you talk about how do roasters decide that how much they need to roast, I would say is the similar manner how like a doctor decide that what injection you need to give to a patient, right? So roasters are aware about that how much roast that they need to do to a particular coffee bean or to the particular coffee blend in order to produce the right kind of light roast, medium roast, or dark roast coffee. That's their job every day.
Okay, so like you also mentioned about the flavor profile. Also in the commercial market outside,
Yeah,
a lot of flavors in coffee
def-
has been introduced, and
yeah,
a wide range exists. So,
definitely.
there are coffee lovers who prefer the authentic taste and do not want to mix it up with the other flavors and everything. So,
Yeah.
what is your opinion and how like it should be seen upon?
See, I would like to press again and again on this. It always depends upon your personal taste, right? Like there, as you mentioned, there are different flavors available in the market: vanilla, hazelnut. You have like chocolate flavor coffee coming nowadays in general. So at the end of the day, if you ask me personally, I would say I would like the coffee as original, like how original the coffee is, the bitterness of that coffee, that kind of bitterness or that kind of caffeine kick that it brings to your morning thing. I would prefer it as original rather than going into the flavor of it. I if I talk about myself, I don't even add sugar to my coffee because at the end of the day it oxidizes, right? It is said that like your sugar gets oxidized, so you should not add and you should actually enjoy the original flavor of the coffee. So I would like to conclude by saying that it's a personal taste of people, but personally I would like to enjoy the original flavor of the coffee, which is little bit bitter depending upon how roasted it is.
So ma'am, what are, in your point of view, some of the most common misconceptions about the coffee blends that you encounter in your work?
So I would say one of the biggest misconception about the coffee is the caffeine amount that it has in the coffee and the kind of health impact that caffeine brings to brings to your health. So that's one of the biggest misconception I would say, because everything you're eating every day, even the tea, it has the caffeine. It's not just the coffee that has the caffeine, right? It's your Coke, your Pepsi that also have that caffeine element to it. So it's just about that how rightly you have, like I would say, if you have the right amount of coffee in the morning, it gives you the right kick, the right start to your day, and it gives you it acts as an energy booster for you. So it all depends upon the amount that you're taking it every day. Obviously over amount of anything is bad for your health. It needs to be had in a limited amount. So there are a lot of misconception other than that, that coffee, a pregnant woman should not have coffee. Like personally, in my pregnancy I had coffee, so I was completely fine, my baby is completely fine. Then you should not add coffee to milk. Like you should have like the original coffee is like kind of an espresso or kind of a thing which mostly Italian people like it, and you should not have in your milk because at the end of the day it dilutes the flavor and you are just having it for an enjoyable drink. But then it's kind of a personal thing, right? Like why cappuccino is more famous than even espresso then. So it adds to the flavor accordingly. So yeah, these were the few misconceptions which are there in the market.
So how do specialty coffee blends differ from the mass market coffee blends in terms of quality, sourcing, and the flavor?
Specialty coffee blends will always differ from the mass blends, right? Like in mass, like if you see in the market, you have brew coffee, you have Nescafe. However, Davidoff coffee will be obviously much more preferred. Or if you are a coffee person, if you know what coffee is, you'll always prefer to go with the Davidoff rather than going with other blends of coffee, right? Like it's all depends upon how much knowledgeable you are. And also in terms of that you're just having coffee for taste or you're actually a coffee person. And Davidoff, I'm just naming at this point of time, right? Like they're all other special coffee, like how would I say, makers in the market which are actually original as compared to the just like the marketers which are in the market which are just promoting in terms of increasing their market from that perspective or increase their revenue. However, there might be a lot of people who might not know what is actual coffee, right? Like what is actual coffee beans, what it is actually made up of, and they're just enjoying it as a usual drink that they do. So speciality will always be over and above the mass marketing, because speciality comes with the originality. However, mass marketing is mostly with respect to how to earn more revenue and how to earn more money, and it's all always a marketing gimmick.
So, ma'am, can you tell us about the growing trend of sustainable and fair trade coffee and how these practices influence the types of blends available today?
Definitely, I would say sustainability and the environmental has recently impact a lot on the coffee growers also, and have fairly compensated for their work, and they are also incentivize them in order to adopt more environmentally suitable methods in order to grow sustainable coffee from that perspective. Shade grown coffee practices contribute significantly to sustainability by promoting biodiversity and environmental conversation from that perspective. Because these practices basically involve cultivating coffee under canopy of trees, reducing the need for pesticides, and creating a symbiotic relationship between coffee plants and the natural ecosystem, which is very much important for, I would say, the ongoing trade now at the present moment, right? How we are getting more global warming and everything. So it's more important to become more sustainable going forward from that, from this perspective.
What's the secret of creating a well balanced coffee blend? And are there any common mistakes to avoid when we are blending different kinds of beans together?
Okay, so I would say the secret of blending is to combine different roast levels to create that kind of a dynamic flavor, right? I would say this only a roaster or a person who is making coffee every day will know about it. That so that no single flavor overpass the other. It's kind of a perfect blend. And like some of the tips I would say is kind of which I got to know while I was just generally reading about it would be that always give a 2:1 ratio of light roast to dark roast, so that you can balance out that bitter flavor with bit of sweet flavor from that perspective. And always add your dark roasted beans when you are combining the different blends, because the dark roasted beans actually give you that original flavor of coffee and maintain that character and original and the overall harmony to it. And at the end of the day, always blend the light and the medium roast, because this will create a bright and a balanced coffee.
Okay. So how do brewing methods, for example, French press, espresso, pour over, affect the flavors of different blends? Do certain blends pair better with specific methods? And if you
Yeah.
also would add your preference to the list, what would that be?
Yeah, I would say like blending is kind of a technique, right? Like when I was in UK, I have seen a lot of I have seen a lot of Italian people making their espresso every morning. That's I would say they used to have a special, I would say, that machine, and that they used to add that coffee beans, then a bit of water, and then used to press it, and they used to get the right kind of espresso, which is dark roasted, full bodied, rich, intense coffee with that kind of earthy aroma to it. And it's a good choice for medium to dark roast coffee. However, if you see espresso, it brings out that bright, sweet, and a rich flavors in coffee and can make them more intense, right? And obviously, you can make it medium by adding more milk to it. If you are kind of a milk person from this perspective. And when you say pour over, they actually produce a more cleaner and a brighter taste, because it highlights the unique flavor of coffee. And like mostly people who like light and bright flavor will go with that pour over coffee. So I would say again, as I said before, it all depends upon the personal taste, and these are just the different methods how you produce different flavors of coffee from this perspective, whether it's French press, whether it's your pour over, whether it's espresso.
And what is your personal taste and preference? Mhm.
I'll go with espresso. I'm kind of like a proper coffee person, so I would like that kind of a bitter taste, but that ending with that bit of sweet taste at the end. So that's my personal thing.
Okay. So, ma'am, what advice would you give to coffee enthusiasts who want to start experimenting with creating their own coffee blends at home?
Own coffee blends at home. I wouldn't say the people who are just starting out coffee should go ahead with blending beans at home, I would just advise them to try different kind of coffee which are available in the market, whether it's your flat white cappuccino, whether it's your cortado, whether it's your mocha or espresso or your espresso. From this perspective, don't try like blending coffee at home, to be very honest, because I would say you'll fail at it. Who are the first timers, right? Like it involves a lot of technique that you need to learn. There are a lot of actually people do the coffee making course also. There are a lot of universities which have these kind of diploma courses or certificate courses which are there, not just university but in terms of the certificate course. From this perspective, so this is an altogether different thing to do. But yes, who are first timers, who are coffee want would like to become a coffee enthusiast, please start tasting different kinds of coffee which are available in your region, whether even with whether it's Nescafe, whether it's brew, whether it's Davidoff, whether it's Moroccan, anything. Like I'm just generally saying, just try different flavors. And if you want to try blending, you can just try mixing one part of this coffee with other part of this coffee at home. Until unless you have that proper machine which do the actual blending, you can't blend the coffee at home. So that's my view on it.
Okay. So, as the coffee industry evolves, what trends do you foresee for the future of coffee blending and consumer preferences?
I would say that the coffee industry is definitely involving in a lot of ways. It is becoming more sustainable, and they will also, and the consumers nowadays actually expect transparency about its origin. They would like to know more about coffee. Like when you are going to the store, I have seen a lot of consumer which are putting a lot of brains in order to understand that what's the origin of the coffee, how this coffee is different from the other coffee. And even the roasters and the cafes are actually responding by emphasizing to it that okay, this is kind of ethically sourced beans, these are more environmental friendly beans, you are plant based beans which are coming up. And I would say technology is also enhancing the coffee experience in a lot of way, because there are a lot of, I would say, technology produce different methods which are coming up, whether it's brewing your coffee or roasting your coffee. Earlier it was mostly handpicked, now it's more of technology which has taken up more over. And then you have specialty coffees, and nowadays what's happening, a lot of people are turning vegan, they try to prefer oat milk or an almond milk, right? And then there are non-dairy milks also available. Then you have cold brew coffee. In terms of that, you have super coffee, which is kind of loaded with antioxidants and all. Like you have keto coffee which adds like ghee or like your butter to it. So there I would say there are diverse flavors which are coming up. The in terms of cultural expectation, people are coming with their own experimentation. Even the roasters, the cafe people are experimenting with the coffee flavor. So this is going to go on, and I would say it's quite bright future from that perspective, until unless the only caution would be there that the people should not lose on the origin, like the original coffee blend, right? Like they are losing on that with respect to the whole techniques, the whole changes which are coming. We are going away from that kind of original blend, we are becoming more, I would say, diluted from that perspective. So we are just going with the trend, say whether it's a western trend, whether it's a eastern trend, but that's just coming up, and that's over powering the actual coffee that's there.
So, as you mentioned that uh, it has also like become a trend that like are you a coffee person or a tea person, and all the
People, yeah.
discussion that goes around it. So do you also feel that the mass at large, if they are really interested and want to like have a genuine original coffee and want to like taste the originality of it, they more awareness or the information
Yeah.
should be spread
I
up.
would say they should search about it. They should be aware about it. If they are really a coffee person, if they really want to taste the that actual coffee bean, because actual coffee bean is actually very bitter, right? You can't even taste it, right? If you go to Italy or if you go to France or in general, where the coffee is actually very famous, like in terms of they don't have cappuccinos, they have espressos, right? From that perspective. So I would say this whole trend, right? Like getting into a coffee and everything, until unless you're not aware, you're just going with the mass. And I will talk about myself also, right? At home, I'm not blending coffee. I'm not making that every day, pressing out the coffee beans and making myself the rich coffee. I'm also very easy going on that perspective. Just take some milk or take some just heat water and put that coffee and strain it and just have it. That's kind of a lack of time also that I have. And also sometimes people have the lack of resources in order to source for that right kind of coffee bean for yourself, right? So at the end of the day, see, it all depends upon your personal things also, your personal reach, your personal expenses and all. But at the same time, if you really want to taste that actual coffee, please do research about it. Please do read about coffee, how the blends happen, what is dry roast, what is dark roast, what is light roast. People are not aware about it. They are just drinking coffee for their needs. And especially I would say the reason why it's happening is the cafe people are popularizing coffee with their ice mocha, with their like yeah, peppermint coffee, with their pumpkin rich latte or something like that, right? Like now the pumpkin thing
Yeah.
will be quite famous in India also with the Starbucks and all. In general, not naming anything, sorry about that, but in general, the cafes are bringing a lot of marketing thing, right, with respect to coffee, where the richness of coffee, where the actual coffee is leaving behind. So people go more about the taste rather than the the original thing. So that's the main problem which is now. And if a person is really a coffee person, then please do research about it. Or if you want to become a coffee person, so please do research about it and have the right coffee. And then will you be a coffee person again? That's still a question mark.
Yeah.
I would also like to know the answer after that.
And like when we are talking about the right coffee, very last question to the session, you must be aware about an animal who is like who is fed a food and then he poops out something, and that's like the coffee blend, the beans and
Do
all.
I know about it? Do you know about it? You know about it, where it is grown or where it happens?
Like it's an Asian country, I guess.
Okay, but do you actually know about it?
That's like you are the so we have a very
It's
vague
it's
information.
a
And
Asian farmed civet poop coffee, which is actually sold as Kopi Luwak, if I'm
okay.
not wrong. So it's also known as a civet coffee. So yeah, it's actually made after the poop, like from the poop. So yeah, from the digestive system, like how I don't want to go into it, but yeah, that's about the coffee. That is a Kopi Luwak, which is very smooth and earthy in flavor, and it's very rare and expensive,
So,
and it's
like,
an English.
given the kind of enthusiast that you are, like, have you had the opportunity to taste, or do you look forward to tasting any?
I have, like, I don't know whether I tasted the right coffee or not. When I went to Bali, it's quite famous that it's from the like
Yeah,
made from the poop and all. I have had it, but the question is whether it's the original thing, right? Like because where you are having it from, that's the biggest question.
right.
I've had it, but I don't know whether it was the
It
original
wasn't
one, yeah,
okay.
or not. Because I just had it at a coffee shop, which were like, okay, this is a Kopi Luwak one. I said, okay, I would like to try it. So
And
that's
like your experience was great.
earthy flavor, and it was good. I would
Yeah.
say it was good because I have tried different coffee, so I was fine with it.
Because
Yeah.
those who are not like interested in coffee, let's say, even they are like very curious about what all is going on with that animal, and the people are drinking coffee, and also it's a
It's good.
question. Yeah.
It's good. Curiosity is always good,
Yeah.
right? If you're going to Bali or Indonesia, every person would like to try out that, or who are like or you have that kind, how would I say, they also market it in that
Right.
sense, right? That's one of the touristy thing for them also. So why
Yeah.
not? Why not?
As you mentioned earlier in the conversation, people are going all about the trends and the Western culture
Yeah.
and everything. So
Yeah.
that came across as a trend that people started like.
Yeah.
So that is like even I know about because I saw it as a trend that oh, people are doing this.
Happens, right? Like when you are taking like for a tourist destination, even if you are taking a group thing or something, they also popularize it that you will have something special coffee which is made out of this poop and all. That is not popularized by the normal, I would say, the tourist people only, right? Like they are only
Right.
promoting it from that perspective. So people are like, okay, why not? Let's have it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, ma'am. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
taking your time out of your busy schedule and having this quick session with us. It was an absolute pleasure. We have uncovered so much about the craft of coffee blending and the dynamic. I'm sure the people who just like prefers coffee over tea, even they got to know like how much goes behind just a cup of coffee. So
That's
it's it has been an amazing conversation. So
true.
thank you so much. And for our audience, whether you are sipping your morning brew or exploring new blends, we hope this conversation has inspired you to look at your next cup of coffee in a whole new way. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes of the Coffee Conversation Show as we continue to explore the rich world of coffee and its many facets. Cheers to the perfect blend, and thank you so much, ma'am, for joining.
So much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.